I'm Sophia. Welcome to today's lesson. We're going to dive deep into an important topic in English grammar, the past simple tense of the verb to be. It's one of the first tenses you'll encounter when learning English, and it's incredibly useful for talking about events that happened in the past. Whether you're talking about where you were, what you did, or how you felt in a previous time, the past simple tense is essential in daily conversation.
Hi, I'm James. Yes, the past simple tense of to be is super important, especially when you're discussing your experiences in the past. It helps us tell stories, describe past situations, and even explain our feelings or conditions at different points in time. We use this tense very frequently, and knowing how to use it properly will improve your communication skills greatly. Today we're going to break down how to use it correctly and provide you with some clear examples to guide you.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm here to help you understand and practice these concepts. I'll also be sharing some useful examples so you can see exactly how to use the past simple tense of to be in real life. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started.
Now, listen carefully to this short conversation between James and Emily. Pay attention to how the words was and were are used to talk about events and situations that happened in the past. These are the key elements of the past simple tense of to be. Let's hear the conversation.
Emily, what were you doing last weekend?
I was at the movie theater on Saturday. I watched a really cool action movie. What about you?
I was with my friends at the park. We were playing football all day.
That sounds fun, James. Was the weather nice?
Yes, it was sunny and warm.
That sounds great. I wasn't outside much because I was inside the cinema all day.
Now that you've heard the conversation, let's break it down and take a closer look at the grammar. Did you notice how was and were are used to talk about things that happened in the past?
Yes, we did. For example, I was at the movie theater and we were playing football are both talking about events in the past. The key here is that was and were indicate past actions or states.
Exactly. And remember, was is used for singular subjects like I, he, she, and it. Were, on the other hand, is used for plural subjects like we, you, and they, or when you're asking questions or forming negative sentences.
That's right. And now that you've seen how was and were work in a conversation, we're going to explain how to use them in more detail. These two words are essential when talking about the past in English, so let's explore them further. Similar to way being taken, sometimes were is created when talking about the past, and is typically used when talking about the past. So let's focus on the past simple tense of the verb to be. This is a very important part of English grammar. The verb to be is used to describe things that happen in the past. The past forms of the verb to be are was and were.
That's right. Was is used with singular subjects. For example, I was at the mall, he was happy, and she was at the party. In these sentences, we're talking about actions or states that happened at a specific time in the past. So, was is used when we talk about one person, place, or thing.
And we use were with plural subjects and the pronoun you, So you can say, you were at the concert, they were at the museum, and we were at the cinema last night. Here, were is used when referring to more than one person or thing, or when you're addressing someone directly.
Exactly. It's very simple once you understand the basic rule. But there's more to it. What if you want to make a negative sentence? No worries, it's just as easy.
That's right. To make a negative sentence, simply add not after was or were. For example, I wasn't at home, we weren't at school, or she wasn't at the party. The word not changes the statement into a negative one. And if you want to ask a question, just swap the order of the subject and the verb. For example, was he at the party? Or were they happy? Remember, when forming questions, the word order changes. Let's take a moment to look at some more examples. Here's how was and were are used in different situations. I was tired yesterday. Definitely said. You were sad last week? In these examples, we're describing feelings or conditions that occurred in the past. We were in London last year. They were at the restaurant last night. Here is used to describe places where someone was at a particular time in the past. And I was excited for the concert. I was scared during the movie. These examples show how we use was and were to describe how people felt at specific moments in the past.
It's really important to remember that niskes was niskes is used for the pronouns I, he, she, and it, while where is used for you, we, and they.
Right. And don't forget, we use these forms to describe things that happened in the past. It's very simple, and once you get used to it, you'll be able to speak more fluently and naturally.
Now, let's learn some useful vocabulary and time expressions that will help us use the past simple tense more effectively. When we talk about the past, it's common to use specific time expressions to help us reference when things happened. Here are some time expressions. Yesterday, I was at the beach yesterday. Last week /month /year, she was at a party last week. A long time ago, we were in New York a long time ago. In the past, I wasn't very interested in basketball.
These time expressions are key to understanding when something happened. For example, I was at a concert last night gives us a clear indication of when the event took place in the past. Time expressions make our statements more precise and help others understand exactly when we're talking about.
You can also use the word when to ask about past events. For example, when was your birthday? Or when were they at the park? This is a very useful way to inquire about specific events in the past. Let's now talk about films and personal preferences using the past simple tense. Films are a great way to practice discussing past events and experiences. You can describe the movies you watched or share your opinions about them.
For example, last weekend, I was at the cinema with my friends. We were watching a romantic comedy. It was really funny. I hadn't watched a comedy in a while, so it was a nice change.
That sounds fun, Sophia. I was at the cinema last Saturday too, but I was watching an action movie. It was amazing. I love action movies. They're always so thrilling. The special effects were incredible.
I love action movies, but I wasn't a big fan of them when I was younger. I used to watch more animated movies, but now I really enjoy the intensity of action films.
It's interesting how our preferences change over time, isn't it? I used to watch a lot of superhero movies when I was younger, but now I prefer documentaries. I think I've become more interested in learning about real events rather than fictional stories.
Yeah, it's funny how we grow and change our opinions as time passes. Just like when we talk about the past, our likes and dislikes also have a story. It's fascinating to reflect on how much we evolve over the years. Well, that's the end of today's lesson on the past simple tense of the verb to be. We hope you enjoyed it and learnt something new.
We talked about how to use was and were, how to form negative sentences, and how to ask questions. You can now confidently use these forms to talk about where you were, how you felt, and what happened in the past.
That's right. And remember, practice makes perfect. The more you use the past simple tense of to be in your conversations, the easier it will get. Keep practicing, and soon you'll be able to use this tense without even thinking about it.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. We'll see you next time. Keep practicing and happy learning.